Okay. Well, thank you very much, Cathaoirleach. And Minister, this is wide-ranging legislation and it is welcome. But I've had numerous constituents contact me regarding e-scooters and e-bikes, so it is welcome to see legislation for e-scooters and e-bikes, as well as I want to welcome the newly installed traffic management system on the M50. I think that's really important. And I do, Minister, understand that there is investment to improve our public transport system, so that is really good news. But I have to say I was really heartened this week with the great news that a long-awaited bus service for Carlow Town has been given the green light, with services expected to begin in the second half of next year. And this is wonderful news for Carlow, because the overwhelming need for this service has been known for some time, and I have made consistent efforts and representation to the National Transport Authority and to yourself, Minister, to get this project up and running. So it's always been a top priority. And it has never been more important now, especially now as we got the big announcement last week or a few weeks ago about the Technological University for the South East. And as you know, we have two excellent third-level colleges in Carlow. So I think this is timely, and I think, you know, once we go on time, Minister, and I would ask you that it is no later than the middle of next year. This bill is also part of the government's efforts to introduce and encourage alternative models for mobility, particularly to give people who have mobility issues. And I think that is really important for anyone that has a disability or needs, that needs access. Particularly, we've seen it ourselves in my own town, Carlow Town, where we had a great railway station, but we had no wheelchair accessibility. So I think this is part of it too. I think we need to look at all these, but also as part of this bill, it's to reduce our reliance on cars. And this, to me, is really important, because we all need to do our bit on climate action. And, you know, Minister, recently even I got several phone calls again in my own area where the traffic in Carlow Town is backed up, particularly when you look at times of schools or people going to work. And it's an issue that we do need to look at, because the smaller towns, I think, Minister, we need to look at more public transport for rural towns. I mean, I know Dublin and our cities are so important, but when you have the smaller areas like my own, which is a rural town in Carlow Kilkenny, we don't have enough public transport there, and I would ask that you would look at that for us as part of the programme going forward. I also very much welcome the laws to deal with the dangerous antisocial of off-road users of scramblers, squads and other similar vehicles being strengthened by this bill, and the amendment to strengthen laws in relation to insurance and road traffic enforcement. And these are all things that need to be done, and these are all things that we all need to make sure does happen. These measures will help improve road safety while also helping us to drive down the cost of insurance for law-abiding drivers, and we must consider the safety of all our road users, and that would be a priority for us. So I have some concerns, and they relate to those living with disabilities. Minister, tonight I will be in this chamber speaking on the motion regarding the report entitled Aligning Disability Funding with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Person with Disabilities, Budget 2022, pre-budget submission. And I will be talking about policy change to support those with disability living their best lives. We cannot then proceed with legislation that might allow e-scooters permitted on footpaths. The Road Traffic and Road Bill 2021 must prohibit the use of e-scooters on footpaths and include such uses as an offence. For those who are visually impaired, hearing these vehicles is massively important, and I really think we need to look at the AVIS on all e-scooters so that they can be heard approaching. This is essential for the safety of pedestrians who are blind or visually impaired. And look, recently even I had several phone calls. We have our joint policing committee meeting every few months like all local authorities, and I'm delighted to be part of that. And I actually brought it up at our joint policing committee meeting, where I had several phone calls again from people in Carlow and the county of Carlow, where these scooters are actually, they're on the road. And as we know, like sometimes, Minister, I have seen myself where you could have two people on one scooter, and again, it's dark, or evenings are getting dark, and all of a sudden you're nearly up on top of them. And of course, then we have I witnessed and I got several phone calls about scooters on footpaths. And again, I just cannot highlight enough for you, Minister, in smaller rural towns, our footpaths are so small for, as I said, people with a disability, people in wheelchairs, people with buggies, older people that are out walking. I think we have to be really careful on this. We cannot allow this type of thing to happen, because I think it will actually go against us long term. And I would ask that you would do this, because this legislation currently allows for maximum speed limit of 20 kilometres per hour, but I think this is far too fast for other road users and should be reduced to 12 kilometres per hour, in line with the other European countries. And Minister, that is in line with the other EU countries, and I would ask that you would consider that. And also, another issue I have, and I know schools have been brought up, and I would have loads of parents contacting me, particularly about schools and zoning at schools for, for speed. I would ask you that you would look at, around schools, actually reducing zones to 6 kilometres per hour. And this is something that I've brought up on several occasions, because when you have together, and you know yourself, it might be only 20 minutes, half an hour, but when everyone's coming together, and I think that we need to look at something like that. And I just think all these issues are so important, because they are health and safety issues, Minister. And I just think we need to make sure that we do that. The EU regulation 540 to 2014 mandates all manufacturers to equip their new electric vehicles with AVAS by the 1st of July 2021, but it does not attach this to e-scooters. And I would agree with the National Council for the Blind of Ireland that this is our chance to lead others. And I would just ask you, Minister, and I know a lot of other TDs have addressed this, there is a lot of welcome, and a lot of us have welcomed this, and it is really good that we legislate. And I know we have to go with progress, because I think, look, this is going to happen. And I see, look, there is some good things to them. I see a lot of, people in my own area that are using them. But the problem is, if we don't find a balance here to do with footpaths and speed, and again, communication on how we deal with this and how we work with all the, whether it's through the guards or through all other different agencies, how this is manned and policed, I think that will be an issue. So I would ask you, Minister, that you would address my concerns, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.